If you're going through difficult times, feeling trapped or overwhelmed by negative energies, this is the prayer that will change your life forever. Do not fail to complete this powerful prayer to the end so that your request may be answered. By Archangel Michael. But first, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this continuing. At this exact moment, a celestial force moves around you. You may not see it with your earthly eyes, but your soul recognizes it. It is Archangel Michael, the prince of the heavenly militia, who answers your silent call. He comes with his flaming sword, ready to intercede on your behalf against all the forces that have conspired against you. You who now receive these words have been chosen for a greater purpose. It is no coincidence that this prayer has reached you precisely at this moment in your life. Heaven recognizes your struggles, your nights of restlessness, the tears shed when no one was looking. The Lord of Hosts has seen every invisible battle you have fought. Whoever you are, wherever you are, know that Archangel Michael knows your name. He sees beyond the masks you wear for the world. He perceives the pain you hide behind forced smiles, the worries you keep hidden so as not to concern those you love, the silent prayers you raise in the darkest hours of the night. Perhaps you are facing financial problems that seem to have no solution. Bills piling up, debts growing, opportunities that always seem to slip through your fingers. The anxiety of tomorrow robs your sleep, and concern for your family's sustenance weighs like lead on your shoulders. Archangel Michael now comes to break the chains of scarcity that have limited your prosperity. Or it may be that your body is suffering from illnesses that doctors cannot fully explain. Persistent pain, unexplained fatigue, symptoms that come and go with no apparent pattern. You've consulted specialists, had tests done, tried different treatments, but complete healing always seems out of reach. Archangel Michael now brings his protective shield to restore your health and vitality. Perhaps your relationships are going through devastating turbulence. Betrayals that have shattered trust, harsh words that have deeply wounded, distances that seem irreparable. The love that was once a source of joy now causes only pain, and loneliness has become your most constant companion. Archangel Michael comes to restore broken bonds and protect your heart from the darts of rejection. Or maybe you're fighting against addictions that have become invisible chains, trapping you in destructive cycles that seem impossible to break. Each attempt at liberation is followed by relapses that only increase your sense of helplessness and shame. Archangel Michael now descends with his flaming sword to cut these spiritual chains that have kept your soul in captivity. Many of you who hear this prayer are suffering from anxiety attacks or depression that drain your vital energy and steal the joy of living. You feel as if you're being suffocated by an invisible darkness that no one else seems to notice. Archangel Michael comes to illuminate these dark corners of your mind and restore the peace that surpasses all understanding. From this moment, a powerful change begins in your life. Just as the sun breaks through the densest clouds after the storm, the light of divine protection now tears through the darkness that has tried to obscure your path. You are being wrapped in a celestial mantle of protection as impenetrable as the armor of Archangel Michael himself. Listen carefully. All the malicious words spoken against you, all the negative energies directed at you, all the envious glances and destructive thoughts, all of this now dissolves like mist at sunrise. Archangel Michael, by order of the Most High, is positioning his warriors around you, forming an impenetrable spiritual wall. Feel how the air around you now seems lighter. This is no coincidence. It is the weight of curses being removed from your shoulders. Breathe deeply and allow this new energy to fill every cell of your body. With each breath, you receive renewed strength. With each exhalation, you release everything that does not belong to you. The invisible chains that seem to limit your progress are being broken at this very moment. Hear the metallic sound of them breaking, freeing your spirit to soar higher. The doors that seemed permanently closed begin to open, one after another, revealing paths you never imagined existed. You are on the threshold of a great transformation. Just as fire purifies gold, removing all impurities, this prayer is purifying your life, burning all spells, hexes, and works directed against you. Michael, with his flaming sword, cuts the ties that bound you to situations of suffering and limitation. The people who plotted against you, who planted seeds of discord and confusion in your life, now lose their power. not out of revenge, but by divine justice. Their plans unravel like sandcastles touched by the tide. The truth comes to light and you are vindicated in the eyes of all. Some of you have been facing battles in the workplace. Colleagues who conspire behind your back, bosses who don't recognize your value, growth opportunities that are mysteriously blocked. You feel stagnant, undervalued, as if you were rowing against the current. Archangel Michael comes to open the professional paths that have been unfairly closed to you. Others are struggling with family problems that seem to have no solution. Conflicts between generations, rivalries between siblings, old wounds that are reopened at every family gathering. The place that should be your refuge has become a battlefield, and family love is smothered under layers of resentment. Archangel Michael brings reconciliation and restores harmony in your family circle. There are those among you who face legal battles that drain your resources and your peace. Processes that drag on for years, unfair decisions, adversaries who seem to have more power and influence. With each postponed hearing, each legal setback, your faith in justice weakens a little more. Archangel Michael, whose very essence is divine justice, now comes to tip the scales in favor of truth in your situation. Notice how your mind becomes clearer with each word of this prayer. The confused and negative thoughts that seem to dominate, your days are being replaced by clarity and discernment. Archangel Michael illuminates your intellect so that you can recognize the truth and separate the wheat from the chaff in all situations. The envy that others directed at you transforms into blessing. For every malicious look, for every word of contempt, for every attempt to diminish your achievements, you now receive double in blessings. What was planned for your harm, God transforms into an instrument for your good. The gossip that circulated about you, the lies spread with the intention of staining your name, now turn against their own authors, not as a curse, but as a revelation of character. Meanwhile, your reputation is restored and strengthened, built on the firm rock of truth. How many of you feel that there is a dark cloud that follows you wherever you go? A series of inexplicable misfortunes, as if you were living under some kind of curse. Projects that always fail at the last moment, relationships that follow repetitive, painful patterns, accidents and setbacks that seem to occur with abnormal frequency. Archangel Michael comes to dissipate this cloud and break any negative cycle in your life. Others among you are fighting against intrusive and destructive thoughts that seem to have no origin in yourselves. Ideas of self-destruction, violent impulses, inexplicable compulsions that go against everything you value. It's as if a strange voice constantly whispered in your ears, trying to lead you down paths of destruction. Archangel Michael silences these voices and restores peace to your mind. You who have felt alone in your battles, know that you will never again fight without support. Archangel Michael, the general of the heavenly hosts, positions his warriors to fight by your side. Every step you take from now on will be guided and protected. The dreams that seemed dead within you begin to awaken again. Those aspirations that you kept deep in your heart, believing them to be impossible, now resurge with renewed strength. The waiting time was not in vain. It was a period of preparation for what is to come. The gates of heaven open over your life at this moment. A shower of graces is being poured out, washing all areas that have been contaminated by negative energies. Your home, your family, your work, your relationships, everything receives this purifying and renewing anointing. Your health, which may have been attacked by invisible forces, begins to restore itself now. Cells are renewed, systems are balanced, and vital energy flows freely throughout your being. The inexplicable fatigue, the pains without apparent cause, the persistent ailments, all of this begins to yield to the power of this prayer. Your financial resources, which may have suffered attacks and blockages, now open to new possibilities. The paths of prosperity that seemed closed begin to reveal themselves. Opportunities arise where before there were only closed doors. If you have children who have strayed from the right path, who have become involved with destructive influences, or who are going through periods of rebellion, Archangel Michael now extends his protection over them. Like an invisible shield, he guards them from greater dangers, while the time of return home approaches. Those among you who feel a spiritual calling but have faced blocks and confusion in this area now receive clarity and direction. Archangel Michael illuminates the path of your spiritual vocation, removing distractions and false directions that may have diverted you. If you believe this message is for you, that these words find an echo in your soul, declare now in your heart, I receive this blessing. Archangel Michael, I accept your divine protection. Share in the comments of this video, I receive this blessing, and see how the power of public declaration of faith multiplies the effects of this prayer in your life. Continue watching until the end of this powerful prayer, for with each chapter the protection intensifies and specific blessings are released over different areas of your life. Do not interrupt this flow of grace that is being poured out on you now. Stay connected until the last chapter. This is not just a prayer. It is a celestial decree that is redesigning the map of your life. The stars realign in your favor, and the universe conspires for your victory. You have been chosen to witness the power of divine intervention in its most tangible form. From this moment, be alert to the signs. Heaven will speak to you through significant coincidences, unexpected encounters, sudden insights. Do not ignore these signs. They are breadcrumbs on the path that will lead you to your complete liberation and restoration. The enemies who rose against you, visible and invisible, now retreat before the imposing presence of Archangel Michael. Those who dug pits for you fall into them, while you are elevated to new levels of blessing and favor. Your relationships are purified. People who were around you out of interest or with ulterior motives are gently pushed away, while those who truly care about you and have a positive role in your life are brought closer. The sleep that may have been disturbed by night attacks now becomes peaceful and restorative. Nightmares are replaced by prophetic and revealing dreams. Archangel Michael stands guard while you rest, ensuring that no evil force disturbs your repose. You who suffer from chronic insomnia, waking up in the middle of the night always at the same time with the sensation of an oppressive presence in the room, now receive liberation. Archangel Michael positions angelic sentinels around your bed, creating a sanctuary of peace where restorative sleep can finally happen. Those whose homes have been the scene of inexplicable phenomena, objects that disappear or change place, noises without an identifiable source, sensations of being watched, abrupt changes in temperature, now receive a complete spiritual cleansing. Archangel Michael purifies each room, each corner, removing unwanted presences and restoring peace to your dwelling. If you constantly feel energetically drained after interacting with certain people, as if they sucked your vitality, Archangel Michael is now sealing your energy field. He builds a protective shield that allows you to share compassion and love without having your vital energy stolen by vampiric personalities. For those facing a creative block that seems inexplicable, artists who have lost inspiration, writers facing the blank page, musicians who can no longer compose, Archangel Michael now removes the invisible barriers that have been preventing the flow of your creative expression. The prophetic word is fulfilled in your life. As was announced by the prophets of old, in times of great tribulation would also come great liberation, and this is your time, the time of your liberation, your victory, your triumph over all the forces that tried to defeat you. Stay with us, for in the next chapter of this powerful prayer, Archangel Michael will lead you through a profound process of self-knowledge, revealing internal patterns that may have left you vulnerable to certain types of spiritual attacks. The transformation continues with each word, each prayer, each declaration of faith. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to receive more powerful prayers like this one, which can completely transform your spiritual reality. Click the subscription button right now. Activate the notification bell and always be the first to receive these spiritual weapons for your daily protection. Now, as Archangel Michael's protection firmly establishes itself around you, it is time to look within. Pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Allow yourself this moment of honest contemplation about your own journey. How many times have you wondered why certain difficulties persisted in your life? How many nights have you spent awake, questioning why there seemed to be an invisible force working against your dreams and projects. Perhaps you have felt that no matter how hard you tried, something always emerged to block your progress. You are not alone in this experience. Thousands who listen to this prayer feel the same, an inexplicable resistance to their advancement, as if rowing against a powerful invisible current. Tell us in the comments if you have ever felt that, no matter how hard you tried, something always seemed to sabotage your progress at the last moment. Archangel Michael knows this battle and comes to reveal its deepest causes. Reflect, could it be possible that some of these barriers have been erected not only by external forces, but also by internal patterns that you yourself have cultivated? Not as judgment, but as sincere reflection. What thoughts, words, and actions of yours may have opened doors to energies that did not serve your highest good? Remember occasions when harsh words escaped your lips in moments of anger. Think of situations where hasty judgment colored your perception of others. Recall times when forgiveness seemed impossible and resentment found a home in your heart. This reflection is not meant to generate guilt, but awareness, for it is only by recognizing these shadows that we can allow light to dissipate them. Archangel Michael not only protects us from external attacks, but also helps us identify the internal strongholds that need to be dismantled. Many of you carry deep wounds from childhood that have never been fully healed. Harsh words spoken by authority figures, painful rejections from people who should have loved you unconditionally, impossible expectations that made you feel you would never be enough. These untreated wounds have become open doors for spiritual attacks in your adult life. Archangel Michael now brings the balm of celestial healing to these painful memories. Others among you have adopted defense mechanisms that, although they served a protective purpose in the past, have now become prisons that prevent you from fully experiencing love, trust, and intimacy. Walls built to protect a wounded heart have become barriers to the very happiness you seek. Archangel Michael now works to gently dismantle these defenses that no longer serve a positive purpose in your life. There are those who, without realizing it, have nurtured patterns of self-punishment, feeling unworthy of love, success, abundance. With each blessing received, an inner voice whispers that you don't deserve it, leading you to sabotage your own achievements. Archangel Michael now silences these voices of self-deprecation and plants seeds of self-acceptance and self-love in previously barren soil. Have you noticed how certain patterns tend to repeat in your life? The same types of problematic relationships, the same financial difficulties, the same conflicts in the work environment. These repetitions are not mere coincidence, they are invitations to deeper learning. For some of you, the pattern manifests in repeated choices of partners who, although different in appearance, share the same toxic characteristics, people who are emotionally unavailable, manipulative, or incapable of commitment. Each failed relationship seems only to prepare the ground for another similar disappointment. Archangel Michael now interrupts this destructive cycle, revealing the origins of this pattern and giving you the strength to make different choices. Others live repetitive cycles of prosperity followed by scarcity. They earn money only to lose it quickly, as if something within them does not allow sustained abundance. Imprudent financial decisions, poorly planned investments, or compulsive spending seem to sabotage any stability achieved. Archangel Michael now identifies the limiting beliefs about money and personal value that have fueled this cycle. There are those who experience recurrent health problems that migrate from one body system to another, as if the disease needed to find expression somehow. When one symptom is treated, another emerges in its place, keeping them in constant search for healing. Archangel Michael now reveals the connections between these physical symptoms and unresolved emotional wounds. Ask yourself, what are these recurring situations trying to teach me? What lesson has not yet been fully assimilated? What inner transformation is being requested? Archangel Michael now illuminates these questions in your heart, bringing clarity where before there was only confusion. This prayer is not just a shield against external evil, but an invitation to an inner journey of purification and renewal. As Michael drives away the darkness around you, he also sheds light on the dark corners of your own soul, that need attention and healing. Some of you have been carrying a disproportionate weight of guilt for past mistakes, denying yourselves the forgiveness you would readily offer to others. This constant self-flagellation opens gaps for spiritual attacks that feed on your vital energy. Archangel Michael now brings the sword of truth to cut these chains of excessive self-punishment. Others have allowed experiences of rejection to convince them that they are not worthy of love, leading them to an incessant search for external validation. This dependence on the approval of others leaves you vulnerable to manipulations and unbalanced relationships. Archangel Michael now roots in your heart the unshakable certainty of your intrinsic worth, independent of external opinions. There are those who have difficulty establishing healthy boundaries, constantly allowing others to invade their physical, emotional, and energetic space. This pattern of excessive self-sacrifice leaves your energy field porous and susceptible to negative influences. Archangel Michael now strengthens your personal boundaries, teaching you to protect your sacred space without guilt or fear. Consider your faith. Has it been a constant presence in your life, or something you turn to only in moments of despair? Genuine faith is not a safe harbor only in storms, but the compass that guides us at all times, sunny or cloudy. How many of you have relegated your spiritual practice to moments of crisis, forgetting it when everything seems fine? This inconsistency weakens your spiritual shield, making you more vulnerable when inevitable difficulties arise. Archangel Michael now invites you to a constant and disciplined spiritual practice, not as an obligation, but as essential nourishment for your soul. Others have allowed disappointments with human representatives of faith to taint their connection with the divine, confusing the failures of earthly institutions with the perfection of celestial love. This distancing from your spiritual source creates a vacuum often filled by less beneficial influences. Archangel Michael now restores the purity of your direct connection with the divine, beyond imperfect intermediaries. There are those who have developed a relationship of negotiation with the divine, prayers that are essentially transactions. If you give me this, I will do that. This contractual mindset reduces faith to a mercantile process, limiting the depth of true spiritual communion. Archangel Michael now transforms this conditional relationship into a connection based on unconditional love and complete trust. On how many occasions have you doubted the divine presence in your life? How many times have you questioned whether your prayers were being heard? This doubt is human and understandable, but now Archangel Michael invites you to strengthen your faith, to trust even when the path seems obscure. Many of you have experienced moments of divine silence, periods when your prayers seem to hit a bronze sky with no perceptible response or comfort. These spiritual deserts may have planted seeds of disbelief or resentment in your heart. Archangel Michael now reveals the higher purpose of these periods of apparent abandonment, showing how they were essential for your growth and spiritual strengthening. Others have oscillated between different spiritual practices and traditions without truly deepening in any of them. This superficial approach, although motivated by a genuine search, often results in an unstable spiritual foundation that is easily shaken. Archangel Michael now guides you to deeper rooting without condemning the exploration that brought you here. There are those who have excessively intellectualized their spirituality, transforming it into a mental exercise that rarely touches the heart or transforms behavior. This imbalance between knowledge and practice creates an abstract faith disconnected from everyday reality. Archangel Michael now integrates your intellectual understanding with lived experience, transforming knowledge into embodied wisdom. Reflect on your relationships. Are there people in your life who consistently drain your energy, who bring more negativity than light? Are there those whose words and actions diminish your spirit instead of elevating it? Michael now helps you discern which connections should be strengthened and which should be gently released. Some of you remain in toxic relationships out of fear of loneliness, allowing emotional, verbal, or even physical abuse because you believe you don't deserve better or that you couldn't survive alone. This commitment to suffering opens doors to destructive energies in all areas of your life. Archangel Michael now infuses your heart with the courage to choose health and self-respect above fear. Others maintain worn-out bonds with family members who consistently diminish, criticize, or manipulate you, believing that blood ties obligate unconditional tolerance of harmful behaviors. This confusion between forgiveness and permissiveness perpetuates cycles of abuse through generations. Archangel Michael now establishes in your consciousness the difference between honoring your parents and allowing toxic family patterns. There are those who have surrounded themselves with superficial friendships based on passing common interests, social convention, or mutual benefit, but lack truly deep connections where they can be authentic and vulnerable. This lack of genuine intimacy creates an inner void that they often seek to fill in harmful ways. Archangel Michael now attracts relationships of authenticity and depth to your life. Think about your work and vocation. Have you been serving the purpose for which you were created? Have your skills and talents been used to bring more light to this world? Or have you allowed fear of failure, the opinion of others, or the search for security to divert you from your true calling? How many of you are trapped in careers that do not resonate with your true purpose, sacrificing passion and meaning on the altar of financial stability? This misalignment between your daily occupation and your authentic vocation creates an inner dissonance that manifests as chronic dissatisfaction and often as health problems. Archangel Michael now reveals paths to integrate purpose and provision in your professional life. Others are paralyzed by perfectionism, withholding their gifts from the world for fear that their offering is not sufficiently perfect. Unfinished. Projects, undeveloped talents, and postponed dreams accumulate as silent witnesses to this fear of judgment and failure. Archangel Michael now liberates your creative spirit from this self-imposed prison of unattainable perfection. There are those who have lost themselves in constant comparison with others, often measuring their progress not by their own growth, but by an ever-changing external standard. This tendency to look to the side instead of forward results in chronic self-doubt and prevents the flourishing of your unique expression. Archangel Michael now redirects your gaze to your individual path, singular and incomparable. Examine your daily habits. Some of them may be opening doors to energies that do not serve your highest good. Excessive consumption of negative news, participation in gossip and criticism, constant exposure to content that feeds fear and anxiety, all of this can create gaps in your energy field. How many of you begin the day checking social media or news, filling your mind with worries, comparisons, and negativity even before thanking for the new day? This seemingly innocuous habit establishes a low vibrational pattern that can persist for hours. Archangel Michael now reorients your morning routine, inspiring practices that elevate your spiritual frequency from the first moment of consciousness. Others have the habit of constantly complaining, focusing on what is wrong instead of what is right, without realizing how this mental pattern attracts more situations that confirm their negative view. This downward spiral becomes an open invitation to depressive energies. Archangel Michael now interrupts this cycle, revealing the transformative power of conscious gratitude. There are those who neglect the rituals of daily spiritual protection, such as prayer, meditation, or energy cleansing practices, leaving themselves vulnerable to external influences that could easily be repelled with simple acts of spiritual self-care. Archangel Michael now establishes in your consciousness the importance of these subtle yet powerful shields. Look at your health. Have you honored your body as a temple of the spirit? Have you provided it with the rest, nutrition, and movement it needs? Or have you neglected this fundamental aspect, allowing physical imbalance to open the way to spiritual vulnerabilities? Many of you consistently ignore the signs of tiredness and stress that the body sends, pushing yourself beyond healthy limits in the name of productivity or external expectations. This pattern of slow self-mutilation weakens not only physical health, but also energy defenses. Archangel Michael now restores the balance between doing and being, between producing and resting. Others seek to escape uncomfortable emotions through compensatory behaviors, excess food, alcohol, shopping, work, or even exercise, creating dependencies that serve as temporary distractions but ultimately weaken the mind-body-spirit connection. Archangel Michael now brings the courage to face emotions directly, without the need for escape. There are those who have a conflicted relationship with food, either through excessive deprivation or uncontrolled indulgence, treating the body as an enemy to be dominated or a tool to fill emotional voids. This imbalance creates instability not only in the physical body, but also in the subtle bodies. Archangel Michael now establishes a new relationship of partnership and respect with your physical temple. If you have gone through difficulties, but never completely lost faith, recognize that inner strength. Affirm to yourself, "I am strong and I will overcome. No matter how intense the battles, my determination is greater." Share this declaration in the comments of this video and join the thousands who, like you, are rising in faith and courage under the protection of Archangel Michael. Stay with us until the end of this powerful prayer. Each word, each phrase, each chapter is being divinely ordained to create complete protection in all areas of your life. The journey of transformation is just beginning, and Archangel Michael has more revelations and blessings to grant you in the coming chapters. This journey of self-reflection is not easy, but it is necessary. It's like cleaning a wound. It may hurt in the moment, but it's essential for true healing. Archangel Michael sustains you in this process, ensuring that you don't get lost in the shadows you're exploring. Those facing chronic addictions, substances, behaviors, or even thought patterns often oscillate between periods of control and relapses, creating a cycle of hope and despair that progressively drains self-confidence. Archangel Michael now identifies the fundamental wounds that addiction tries to numb, bringing healing to the root cause instead of just dealing with the symptoms. Others carry the weight of toxic shame, not just remorse for specific actions, but a deep sense of inadequacy that colors their entire self-perception. This existential shame becomes a fertile field for attacks that confirm and deepen this negative self-image. Archangel Michael now differentiates between healthy guilt that leads to change and destructive shame that paralyzes growth. There are those who have internalized limiting messages in childhood. You will never be enough. People like us don't achieve that. Don't expect too much from life, which have become self-fulfilling prophecies, invisible but powerful in their effect on choices and expectations. Archangel Michael now rewrites these internal scripts, replacing them with liberating truths about your unlimited potential. As you look honestly at these aspects of your life, notice how clarity begins to emerge. Situations that seemed inexplicable now make sense. Patterns that were previously invisible become evident. This is the transformative power of truth. Many of you now perceive surprising connections between seemingly disconnected events in your life. How decisions made decades ago created the scenario for current challenges. How past relationships shaped your present expectations. How words heard in childhood still echo in your internal dialogue. Archangel Michael now reveals the conducting thread of your personal history, showing the hidden logic behind the apparent chaos. Others are recognizing for the first time how they have unconsciously recreated in adult relationships the dynamics of their families of origin, seeking approval from distant authority figures, trying to save troubled partners, fearing abandonment or intimacy in the same way they experienced in childhood. Archangel Michael now interrupts these patterns of unconscious repetition, offering the opportunity for new choices based on full awareness. There are those who are having insights about how their greatest strengths and weaknesses are often two sides of the same coin, how their sensitivity allows for deep empathy, but also vulnerability to emotional overload, how their determination enables remarkable achievements, but also potential rigidity, how their analytical capacity brings clarity, but also possible emotional disconnection. Archangel Michael now integrates these apparent opposites into a harmonious whole. Now imagine yourself as a garden. Some areas are flowery and vibrant, others need pruning, others still are completely neglected. Archangel Michael is the celestial gardener who helps you identify what needs to be cultivated and what needs to be removed. Observe the terrain of your inner garden. Perhaps the soil has become acidic with accumulated resentments, or arid from lack of adequate spiritual nutrition. Parts may be waterlogged with repressed emotions, others compacted by rigidity of thought. Archangel Michael now works to rebalance this terrain, creating the ideal conditions for the flowering of new possibilities. The seeds of potential that were planted in you, talents, gifts, vocations, dreams, are at different stages of development. Some have barely begun to germinate, smothered by doubts and fears. Others have sprouted but haven't received enough light to grow fully. Archangel Michael now removes the obstacles to the growth of these divine seeds in your life. The weeds of negative habits, limiting beliefs, and toxic relationships compete for nutrients with the plants of virtues and positive possibilities. Pulling these weeds requires careful attention to remove the roots, not just the visible parts. Archangel Michael now grants the perception to identify these invaders and the determination to remove them completely. The roots of bitterness that have grown in your heart may have deepened so much that they seem part of you, but they are not. With Michael's help, you can now recognize them and gently but firmly begin to remove them. Some of you have nurtured grudges for years or even decades, recalling past offenses with the same emotional intensity as if they had just happened. This attachment to past suffering poisons your present and closes doors to your future. Archangel Michael now dissolves these emotional crystallizations, freeing the energy trapped in old wounds. Others have developed a pattern of victimization, interpreting life, experiences through the lens of powerlessness and injustice. This internal narrative, even when based on real events of suffering, perpetuates a cycle of passivity and resentment that attracts more situations that confirm this worldview. Archangel Michael now rewrites this narrative, transforming you from victim to protagonist of your own story. There are those who have cultivated rigid expectations about how life, people, and God should behave, leading to inevitable disappointments, when reality does not correspond to these inflexible standards. This rigidity creates fractures in the relationship with the divine and with others. Archangel Michael now softens these expectations, replacing them with an openness to the mystery and infinite possibilities of life. The fears that have limited your steps, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of scarcity, fear of loneliness, are illuminated by the light of truth. They are merely shadows, not substances. They have no real power over you unless you grant it to them. Many of you have allowed the fear of others' judgment to dictate your choices, living to impress others instead of expressing your inner truth. This constant performance drains your vital energy and obscures your authentic purpose. Archangel Michael now dissolves this fear of others' opinion, restoring the courage to live according to your own inner compass. Others are consumed by fear of the unknown, clinging to familiar situations even when painful, just to avoid the uncertainty of change. This preference for known suffering instead of possible unknown joy keeps you trapped in stagnant cycles of experience. Archangel Michael now infuses your heart with the courage to embrace the mystery of the new. There are those paralyzed by fear of their own power, afraid that if they allow their light to shine fully, they may overwhelm others or attract unwanted attention. This fear of success can be as limiting as the fear of failure. Archangel Michael now frees your spirit to fully manifest the glory for which you were created. The limiting beliefs that were planted in your mind, perhaps in childhood, perhaps by painful experiences, are now questioned. You are not capable. You don't deserve. This is impossible for someone like you. These voices lose their strength in the face of the truth of your innate worth. How many of you have assimilated the message that you must earn love, approval, and value through achievements being worthy only when productive or useful to others? This conditional belief in your own worth creates an endless cycle of seeking external validation. Archangel Michael now roots in your being the fundamental truth of your intrinsic worth, independent of any performance. Others have absorbed the belief that expressing needs or establishing boundaries is selfish, leading to a pattern of self-sacrifice that ultimately results in resentment and exhaustion. This confusion between generosity and self-nullification distorts relationships and drains vitality. Archangel Michael now clarifies the difference between true love and harmful codependency. There are those convinced that life is fundamentally a struggle, that happiness is temporary and that suffering is the natural state of existence. This somber view makes them receptive to experiences that confirm this perspective and blind to possibilities of sustained joy. Archangel Michael now reveals a way of being where peace and contentment are the foundation, not rare exceptions. Allow yourself to feel the emotion that arises with these realizations. Perhaps it is sadness for lost time, anger for missed opportunities, or even relief for finally understanding. All these emotions are valid and part of the healing process. Some of you feel a deep sadness emerging, tears held back for years that finally find permission to flow. This crying is not a sign of weakness, but of courage to finally face pains that have been ignored for too long. Archangel Michael creates a safe space for this necessary emotional expression, ensuring that you don't drown in this river of tears. Others experience a righteous indignation arising, the healthy anger that recognizes violated boundaries and suffered injustices. This energy, when properly channeled, becomes fuel for necessary changes, instead of poison that corrodes from the inside out. Archangel Michael now directs this emotional force toward constructive actions of self-determination and boundary setting. There are those who primarily feel a vast sense of relief, the weight of masks, secrets, and denials finally removed, allowing them to breathe fully perhaps for the first time in years. This deep sigh creates space for new possibilities previously inconceivable. Archangel Michael now expands this internal space, transforming it into an environment conducive to your spiritual rebirth. Remember, this reflection is not to condemn you, but to free you. It is by looking directly at what limits us that we can finally transcend it. Archangel Michael does not judge your failures. He illuminates the path to your redemption. As you contemplate these truths, feel how your heart expands. Honesty with yourself creates space for divine grace to operate more fully in your life. The defenses you have built over the years begin to dissolve, allowing love and light to enter. This is the true purpose of this powerful prayer, not just to ward off external evil, but to transform you internally so that you become increasingly resistant to the onslaughts of darkness. A purified heart is the best defense against all attacks. From now on, commit to maintaining this inner vigilance. Observe your thoughts, your words, your actions. When those arise that are not aligned with your highest good, gently acknowledge them and choose again. Archangel Michael remains by your side in this journey of self-discovery. He not only defends you, but guides you to a deeper understanding of yourself. For truly knowing yourself is the first step toward lasting transformation. Stay with us for the next chapter of this powerful prayer, where Archangel Michael will guide you through the process of alchemical transformation, converting each challenge into an opportunity for growth, each wound into a source of wisdom, each limitation into a portal for new expansion. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate notifications to regularly receive these words of power and protection. Share this prayer with those you know are facing spiritual battles, so they too can receive the protection and guidance of Archangel Michael. Now that protection has been established and reflection initiated, you are ready for true transformation. This is the moment when the planted seeds begin to germinate, when the chrysalis breaks to reveal the butterfly. Archangel Michael, who has been your guardian and mirror, now becomes your mentor.